So when people talk about Dragon Boat Festival, most of them immediately think of an ancient historical story, the story of Qu Yuan. But honestly, the story behind the 5th day of the 5th lunar month, it's much bigger than just remembering someone who died for his country. Hi there, Ziola here. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, so if you're very lucky enough to have a very traditional Chinese friend, then every summer you'll probably notice that their family suddenly start making zongzi. You know those sticky rice dumplings wrapped in bamboo leaves and sometimes reed leaves? And if you're even more traditional, you might see bundle of mugwort hanging on their doors or even dragon boat races happening in their town. I don't know. And when you ask what's going on, they'll probably tell you like very mysteriously, oh, it's a festival. It's called Dragon Boat Festival. Or sometimes they call it the Duanwu Festival. And if you don't happen to have that friend, well, today I'll be that friend for you. So let's talk about a little backstory behind the Dragon Boat Festival. So when people talk about Dragon Boat Festival, most of them immediately think of an ancient historical story, the story of Qu Yuan. So he's a poet and a minister from about 2,000 years ago, who after watching his kingdom fall into chaoses and feeling completely heartbroken, he threw himself into a river. And according to legend, people rushes out in boat to search for him and toss rice into the water to keep the fish from eating his body. But honestly, the story behind the 5th day of the 5th lunar month, it's much bigger than just remembering someone who died for his country. But one thing is very true is that traditions like making zongzi and raising dragon boats really did grow out of ancient rituals of ceremonies. So every year around mid-June, we celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival. Traditionally, many Chinese families, especially those influenced by Tao folks' belief, would honor their ancestors on the day and pray for health, protection, and good fortune. And there are all kinds of customs tied to the festival. We eat zongzi, we hang mugwort by the door, and wear scented sachets, and drink Rilger wine. And of course, there are also dragon boats in Dragon Boat Festival. Though honestly, we're not going to talk about that part today because where I grew up in Beijing, there are not exactly a convention place to hold a dragon boat race. They're mostly in southern China. So hopefully one day we got to go and I get to show you. Anyways, so the earliest version of zongzi was actually called a jiaoshu. The name literally means horn millet because it was shaped with pointed corners and was filled with sticky millet inside. And honestly, even today, many zongzi are still wrapped in the same triangular shape. So originally, people made jiaoshu to resemble ox horn and use them as offering in ancient rituals because obviously not everyone back then can afford a whole ox as offering, right? So today, come with me as we explore some of the Dragon Boat Festival traditions together. Let's go! And of course, when we talk about Dragon Boat Festival or Duanwu Festival, it's hard to not talk about zongzi. And today, I am going to show you how to make the traditional zongzi. And right here we have the reed leaves, or sometimes we use bamboo leaves, but this time we're using reed leaves and then sticky rice that has been soaked. And we have some dates, and red bean paste and the sweet one. And here we go. So you get 3 leaves lying back to back, and then you kind of fold it a little bit so it bends better when you put rice in it. And then you put it into that triangle shape here, and try not to let any rice slips away. That looks just right. Alright, you put a date over here. Sometimes, you know, like people likes to have like just zongzi that are solely date, and some of them like solely red bean paste, but I like it with both. Let's put some rice in there. There are water just dripping off, that's okay. But one thing is not to let any rice like slip through it. And then let's get some paste in there. That's a small one, because I think the way that I have my leaves weren't exactly right, but that's okay. Then put some more rice in it. Hit it down so it will stay. It's a small one. All right, now here's the tricky part. We're gonna fold it. We hit the triangle shape and then fold it back. Make sure it's like in good shape. Okay, that's good. Now you tie it. It's a small one. I'm gonna like, it's a way mini one, but that's okay. It's easier to tie it. You know how like we're in North China, right? And so Northerners like their zongzi to be sweet, so we use dates and we use red bean paste. But in South China, they use like savory meat, and sometimes they put eggs in it. And so I didn't have any the salty or savory ones before I moved to America. Actually, someone from my church actually brought me my first savory zongzi, you know, and that changed my life, you know, because like ever growing up, I was the one who, I'm not really a big fan of zongzi, you know, because it's like sticky and a weird sweet thing. But like once I have that savory zongzi, and I just love it, you know, and my parents just like, you know what, you're probably a fake Northerner because you like it like salty and stuff. But anyway, you'll find out that a lot of the Chinese food, right, especially these food that are for festivals, you'll find them very interesting, because you'll find them, some of them have a sweet version for the Northerner, some of them have like a savory version for the South. And if the Northerners like it sweet, then South people will like it salty. And then if the Northerners like it salty, the Southerners will like it sweet. Now, this is a normal size one. But anyway, back in America, sometimes we'll put raisins in there too, you know. Just basically whatever you find, you know, in your local market and stuff. This is my first time making it weekly because really we'll make it really good. I didn't find it weekly, so we'll have to stick with what we have. Put it on the table and tie it. And use boil them. Sometimes if you have like a lot of them together, it's hard to boil it through. Okay. Make sure you put things in. Sometimes people put like more strings to secure it, but yeah. And that's it. I think I made this one. So it's all done. Do you see how it's like in a triangle? You kind of see this shape, right? Okay, so during the Dragon Boat Festival, it's not just the Zongzi that smells amazing. People also hang mugwort on the door, and honestly, the scent is very just unforgettable. So during this time of the year, you see how weather starts to get very hot and humid, which means more mosquitoes and bugs. So traditionally, people use that strong smell of mugwort to keep the bugs away. And then there are these sachets. Mugwort hangs on the door, but the sachets were worn on the body. So the scent is actually much more complex than just mugwort alone. So you can see it over here, though it is empty right now, but the real fragrance comes from what's inside. So you can see all the herbs over here, and the secret behind the scent is traditional Chinese herbs. So they don't just smell good. People also believe that they could repel insects and ward off illness and protect against disease. And so once you tie this knot, it's finished, and now we can wear it. Yeah, so I am just sewing this sachets together, and then we'll put, so the herbs just got in today, and then we'll put the herbs into the bags and then sew it in here. All right, let me show you. So rosemary, mint, orange peel, some lavender, and a little bit of honeysuckle, and all of these, and most importantly, the mugwort. And so we'll put all of them into, like, we'll get a little bit of each. All right, all done. And then we tie them in. And then put it in here. And just, I'll finish sewing it. Like that. And here is one that I already finished. When it's all done, it'll look like that. It's a little triangular shape, kind of like a Zongzi. And so you just hang it. So for different people, these sachets actually carry different meanings. So for children, they were believed to protect against sickness and evil spirits. And for young adults, sometimes they were even used for express affection because it's kind of like a traditional gift for your crush, right? And so for me, it keeps the bugs away and works as a pretty cute accessory. So that's a sweet and nice Duanwu ritual for me. So I'm Ziola. See you next time.